welcome back everybody. I am here with Genesis, who is about to do some Majora's Mask for us, so sit back, relax, and take the stage.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. The last run of BSG Annual 2021 is sadly upon us now, and yeah, I'm not alone because I couldn't explain everything by myself, so I got Riley and Turkenheimer with me. Hello.
Hi, I'm Riley.
And I am Turkenheimer, hello.
And yeah, we are going to show off all dungeons SRM, which is a very interesting category. But before we start, I need the file name that won the bid war.
Absolutely. Just give me a quick second here to refresh all these pages. Let's see. It looks like... Oh, it's a tie between Ravio and Morshu. So...
Huh.
It's up to you guys. Which one do you want to pick?
Since I like A Link Between Worlds, Ravio is kinda interesting as a name.
That's what I was thinking. A Link Between Worlds is a great game.
Full caps or capitalized R and rest low cap?
It's just, capitalized R and then everything else in
Okay.
lowercase.
Ravio it is. Okay. Can I get a countdown? From anyone.
Oh, I'll do the countdown for you.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, luckily we have lots of time to talk about stuff since the intro of Majora's Mask is infamously long. And yeah,
It's so long.
it's too long. And unfortunately, we haven't found a way to skip that yet, so we have to sit through it. And yeah, that's a great way to talk about what all dungeons SRM is all about. So, Turk, what is it all about?
Yeah, so in this game there's a very powerful glitch that we have now banned in many categories. So that glitch is SRM. We will explain that in more depth later, but essentially that glitch allows us to, at this point it allows us to arbitrarily or almost arbitrarily edit some data anywhere in memory. So all dungeons has been cut down to basically a boss rush. So we will not really see anything of the dungeons except for the boss rooms. Sorry about that, but yeah. That is now essentially all dungeons SRM. So the definition is, kill the boss, go into the blue warp that spawns after you killed the boss, and pick up the remains. And that is the requirements.
Yeah, we don't even have to beat Majora. We only have to get into credits somehow. We could beat Majora, but, well, that is kind of slow.
Yeah. Former rounds have beaten Majora, but this is the first route now where we finally don't need to beat Majora. There's a really cool way to warp to the credits later, but I don't want to spoiler that.
Yeah, if you've seen my run I did for ESA Summer 2021, we showed off the older route, which basically used SRM as well, but in a very different way. We warped to every bosses by using a grotto and got to Majora, beat Majora, and we were in the credits. That was a fun route, but it's kind of slow compared to this one.
Yeah, so what happened is SRM is just a really complex glitch, and there's new stuff found constantly. The last thing that has been found is light node SRM, which, as I said, is the thing that allows us to more or less write data arbitrarily to anywhere in memory, and yeah, that is just so powerful. So yeah, before we needed to do one SRM setup at a time to, for example, modify a grotto to warp us to one boss. In this run, we will only need 3 SRMs total. So You can see warping to the bosses. So there are 4 bosses, 4 dungeon bosses, and then Majora also. That alone is 5 SRMs, so cutting it down to 3 makes this a lot faster.
Okay, so what's going on in the game now, Riley? What are we doing? Why are we chasing a strange guy that somehow got our Epona?
Yeah, so the story goes, well, so there's this other game in the Zelda series that you might have heard of before called Ocarina of Time. But anyway, after the events of that game, Link takes his horse and is just wandering through the Lost Woods alone because his fairy has left him, and he's pretty sad about that. And while he's wandering through the Lost Woods, he runs into a strange masked child who is a little bit impish and decides to steal his horse, which isn't really the nicest thing you could do, but yeah, so Link's just sort of chasing after him, trying to get his horse back, and I'll be honest, that's not going to happen in this category. You can get your horse back from him, but that's not something we're going to be doing because it's just a little bit slow, and where we're going, we don't really need the horse anyway. So.
Yeah, right.
Funnily, if we would get the horse, that would actually mess up a lot of stuff in this category because of technical reasons. Just some stuff, like we are going to explain that more in detail later, but there's stuff that needs to load in certain orders, and just having a Epona makes her spawn on certain maps, and that would be really bad for for all the setups we need to do.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we don't want to get Epona back. That would be no good.
Yeah, Epona's bad.
Okay, now we're made of wood, it seems.
Yeah, infamous Deku Link. The game transforms us into Deku Link, and now we are unfortunately stuck for quite a while. This is why the intro section or first cycle is so unfortunate. So as Deku Link, we cannot really do too many things. We can do some things, but yeah, it will take a while until we return to being human, and then the game really starts.
Yeah, we're quite limited what our movement options are, and we can't use items except for Ocarina and stuff, but would be more interesting if we could use bombs, for instance. We can buy a bomb bag later, and we will. We can't use bombs though.
Deku Link can actually use so many, or can get many items, but not being able to use them is the big bad thing here.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty remarkable, actually. This game is really broken, but it sort of requires being human to be able to take advantage of that. Once we become human, it's possible to beat the game in 2 minutes. It's just a 22-minute slog to get to where we could be human again.
Yeah.
And until then, we're just stuck as Deku.
There's a really funny thing that I found a few days ago that you can actually do as Deku. So later this run, we will see some really weirdly looking position setups where we just bring Link into very specific positions. And I found out you can, in theory, do all of this already as Deku in first cycle. But the problem is Deku Link is really stupid to control, and yeah, this is going to be a really big meme in the next weeks, I think, trying to mess around with that. I'm not looking forward to that, but somebody has to do it, so oh my.
And Turk is a resident expert, so I feel very sorry for him. But is it okay if I talk about what's going on here?
Probably we should do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, already
so
HMS.
Normally, if you go up the staircase, the Happy Mask Salesman's going to try to talk to you. And that takes the form of a cutscene, and we're just very lucky because this game takes 2 consecutive frames to load a cutscene. And so if we can just advance the game one frame at a time, that's enough for Link to move towards the door, but it's not enough for the cutscene to look. So what Genesis is doing here is he's doing a little set. Oh, he was so close to. But yeah, basically what happens is if you can just backwalk up that staircase in just the right way and turn around on just the right frame, you can actually just do 10 pauses. And those 10 pauses are enough to prevent this cutscene from happening. And it saves like 30 seconds. It's always a bummer when you lose it right at the end, because then you have all the time you wasted doing the trick in addition to the like minute-long cutscene. But
Yeah,
it's okay.
I have ESA flashbacks.
It's certainly not going to cause a problem in the rest of the run. And with any luck, this is still going to be quite fast. So
Yeah, my PB also missed the trick, and I got a 43 with that, so I should be fine.
yeah.
Yeah, door was almost open.
The game is doing an autosave here. On this version, it is just barely faster to reset here, so it is always the question, is resetting faster here, or is watching the little cutscene that plays after, is that faster? On N64, for example, resets are really fast. You always want to reset there. On Nintendo Wii, which we are currently on, it just so happens that on the English version the text is too long, so that resets are worth it. On the Japanese version the text is a little bit faster, so resets are not worth it. But yeah, it always depends on the version. So yeah, now we are in the infamous first cycle. And as we said earlier, as Deku, you cannot really do too many things, so we just want to reach night 3 as soon as possible, because at midnight on night 3 the clock tower opens, and that is where we can then finally progress. So we are going to talk to the grandmother here and listen to her stories 2 times. So she tells 2 different stories. The first one just advances the time by 2 hours, and the second one by a whole day. So this now already brought us to day 3. And now to move on to night 3, we go to West Clocktown, and there's a scarecrow with which we can dance, and then that will make it night 3.
So, how are we looking on the incentive for the bonus run?
Let's see. Let me quickly refresh this for you.
And yeah, we have time for a cutoff for like, I don't know, 30 more minutes. Basically until time hits, so...
Right. Okay, so we are currently at 120 euros out of 250, so we still have a little bit to go, about half of it. So if you want to see that bonus cooker run, please get your donations in, because I quite like to see that one myself, actually. And Genesis, if you don't mind, maybe you could quickly explain something about this incentive?
Yeah, sure. Basically, there is a Coco trapped in a cage in Observatory, and we will see that during the SRM setups, actually. And caged Cacos are not something you want to see. They need freedom, and so we want to try and get the money together to save the Coco. It depends on your donations whether we save the Coco or not. And since we already sacrificed the animals in Super Metroid earlier, what about saving it? Yeah, this guard sucks at his job, so I can just leave. And that's very interesting, because we now have access to Terminal Field, which is not something you usually would do in a casual playthrough, because the guard is blocking you. And yeah, we will now collect some rupees. We need 50 rupees in this category to buy a bomb bag. In other categories you want 90 rupees to deposit in the first cycle, but we won't deposit anything, we just buy the bomb bag and are fine.
Yeah, so later we will learn the Song of Time, which gives us the option to save. But if you save with Song of Time in this game, it also removes all your ammo, so you will lose all your bombs that you just got. However, it just turns out it is still significantly faster to just farm bombs later, even though it's RNG. But yeah, just buying the bomb back now is significantly faster. So if we would deposit the rupees at the bank, which is the way to preserve all your rupees through Song of Time, that just is a lot of talking, and it really takes longer than you might think. And yeah, the other thing we are doing here is we get magic. Dennis earlier picked up the ferry in East Clock Town. And yeah, now just bringing it back to the ferry fountain here. And now we will get magic, which is also still an item that is required. But it's also going to be quite useful for this category.
Oh yeah. Without magic, we wouldn't be able to unfreeze the gold to fight it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And we need magic for some other stuff like SRM setups, heap manips and stuff.
We need magic for SRM. I don't even think we do. Or do we?
I do a chart spin.
Yeah, but that does not require magic actually. But yeah, okay. We don't want to bore you with technical stuff. That is that would be a little bit too much for now, I think.
Yeah, but we need magic for the boss fights, to say the least.
Yeah.
At least 3 of them.
And more importantly, we need magic to get Ocarina back, which is absolutely required. So we still cannot beat the game without getting magic. At least not without like New Game Plus. In New Game Plus, there's a trick that takes, I think, probably a week in real life, where you just constantly pause the game over and over again. It's also a stupid story, but yeah. You cannot normally get Ocarina back without magic, and we need Ocarina.
I didn't do any side quests. How do I get up
Oh, wait
there?
a second. Don't you need to play hide and seek with the bombers? And
Oh no. That's an issue.
It's almost midnight. What do you
Targeting
do
that sign is a bummer too. Oh, I got here
oh.
somehow. Oh, that's convenient.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so that was a trick called a gainer. If you target a wall, or if you do a backflip and then target the frame after, it basically makes you do a backflip in place, because targeting the wall makes you snap forward into the wall, so you can just use that to grab higher ledges than you normally intended to. So yeah, don't need to do any side quests with bomber kits.
Yeah, now we have a section of the game where we talk a lot, we watch a lot of cutscenes, and that's a great opportunity to get some donations in or talk about stuff you want to plug real quick, so go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple donations for you. We have 10 euros from Prometheus saying bonus run, free to Kuko. We also have 50 euros from Neziz saying let's save the Kuko. And we also have 10 euros from Luke saying Habitak Kuko. Genesis, you should know that.
Oh yeah, I do. Thank you, Luke. And yeah,
And with those donations, let's see, we are very close to our goal of getting that release Kuko bonus run in, so keep them coming, guys. And at the same time, let's hit that 5k, shall we?
5k would be a nice goal.
Hey.
Okay, hitting Skullkid with magic to get my Ocarina back. The Happy Mask Salesman, which I unfortunately didn't skip, told us to get our precious item back, and we just did. And he promised to bring us back to our human form if we bring him this item. And yeah, that's what we are going to do after this little cutscene of Zelda talking to us. And yeah, Zelda is in this game. It's not a myth.
Yeah.
She's there.
Yeah, there are people who say this shouldn't be called Legend of Zelda because Zelda is not there. But there she is, in this cutscene.
And yeah, she's praying for our safety. And therefore she teaches us the Song of Time, which we should know basically from Ocarina of Time, but well, we learn it again.
This song is so critical in this game, and especially this category, because when you learn Song of Time in Majora's Mask, you actually learn two alternate forms of it as well that don't actually show up in your quest status screen. But if you talk to the Scarecrow, he tells you how to play them. One of them is the inverted Song of Time, which will slow the progression of time down by quite a bit, which is really important in this game because, at least for casuals especially, because it can be hard to do everything you need to do before the moon crashes. So by being able to slow down time, it's really good. But the alternate form we actually really care about in this run is the Song of Double Time. And the Song of Double Time, what it does is it advances basically to the next dawn or dusk. So either to 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. based on what time it currently is. And that doesn't sound that exciting. In fact, that actually sounds a little scary because, you're getting closer to the moon crashing. But it ends up being really, really powerful. And I think we'll talk about why that is maybe in a little bit.
Yeah. So just there, you could use the Song of Time to save the game. And as soon as you press yes on that text box, the game saves and you can just reset. Here, so normally there plays a pretty long cutscene that you don't want to watch. And you don't need to because you can just reset. And yeah, now we need to talk to the Happy Mask salesman who teaches us a Song of Healing and turns us human again. But also I think he wanted us to bring his mask, Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah, we kind of forgot that.
That was the condition.
Oops.
Let's see what he's going to say about that.
I hope he's not going to do some weird shit to me. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Let's find out.
Oh no. Yeah, so that last save, by the way, was the last time we could save. This is why this route is a little bit scary. There are no ways to safety save. In general, in Majora's Mask, you cannot just save at any time. There is the option with Song of Time, but that always rewinds the cycle and is inconvenient. And then there is saving at owl statues, but that also is not really an option in this category. And also on Wii we see there's yet another inconvenience. If you save the game but don't actually reset your console or turn off your console, the game does not actually save. So if you save but then crash after, you will not have saved the game, which is pretty stupid. Anyway, resetting
angry.
here is... Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is what happens if you don't bring him the mask. So, always, because it's impossible to bring him the mask. Yeah, so I think we should start explaining SRM a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, or you can start with general and chest SRM maybe.
And I will just say nothing because I have to concentrate. So I'll listen to your explanations and focus on gameplay.
Sounds like a plan. So yeah, anyway, we've talked a lot about SRM, and we've probably hyped up enough now that you're probably curious what it is. So it turns out that the way the game implements carrying items over your head is that basically Link, who's the one carrying the item, is just going to write the XYZ position and the angle of that item he's carrying every frame. He's just going to write that. Now, if we do some shenanigans, we can make it to where instead of writing to the thing he's carrying, that XYZ position and angle, we can actually be writing somewhere else in memory. And that ends up being really powerful. And so sort of the way that works, it relies on something known as an actor. And an actor is anything in this game, basically, that you can interact with. It's essentially most things in the game besides collision. So Link is an actor, Tattle's an actor, Epona is an actor, that dog you see running around the clock sounds an actor, all the NPCs are actors, that owl that Genesis just hit is an actor, and pretty importantly, bombs and pots are also actors, and you will be seeing a lot of bombs and pots pretty soon. But it turns out that it's actually pretty easy to manipulate the way these actors are stored in memory, because essentially all you have to do is destroy some of them and then create some new ones. And so what we're going to end up doing here once Genesis actually gets into the observatory, which is where we're going to do this, is we're going to break some pots and drop some bombs in a very particular way. And that's actually going to cause memory to line up in just the right way to achieve what we want.
No, I dropped. Nah.
Oh no, that was close. That was really close. Genesis was going for a trick called a Hess there, which is the fastest, basically the fastest form of movement in the game. And essentially how it works is that when Link is doing his shuffle animation, where he's shuffling his feet, it actually preserves his speed for some reason. And so if you get a lot of speed off of an explosion, and then you start shuffling your feet, you just get to preserve that speed, and you can just slide around the entire map. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, so his plan was there to clip into the fence to get in here. He just used an alternative method there, where he just does a backflip, so that's called a recoil flip. So that's also a way to flip into the fence. And now, yeah, we are here in Observatory, and he's doing that heap manipulation that Riley talked about. So now here's a trick called a super slide that is basically storing your picking up of the pot, and now at the same time sends you backwards really quickly. And when he released his shield and tried to pick up the pot, he was already in a different room and the pot was gone. So he instead picked up nothing. So the pot got unloaded when he tried to pick that up. But yeah, he was still writing position and angle data to the same place in memory. So what he just did there now is that he wrote those things, position and angle data, to something else. And that something else is this chest here. That is behind this stone wall.
Yeah, so what he actually ends up writing is he ends up writing the angle of that nothing that he was carrying to the part of this chest that determines what item you get out of it. And it's really convenient because pretty much everything in this game that works like this, it doesn't have any sort of checks on it to make sure you don't go out of bounds. And so we just went way past the boundaries of the table that determines what item you can get out of a chest. And it's actually causing it to look at a part of Link called his collision angle, which is basically just the angle between Link and whatever wall he's touching. And so based on what this collision angle is, we can get different items out of this chest. And right before this, Genesis did a trick called Time Stop, which is basically just what it sounds like. It stops time. And so you may have noticed that as he's opening this chest, it's not actually opening the chest, but he's still getting the items out of it. So that's like a really critical component of this trick, is that we can just open this chest as many times as we want. Normally you can only open it one time, but since we're in Time Stop, we can do it as much as we want. And all we have to do is we just have to get a couple different angles and then open it. It sort of looks like he's doing a weird dance, but SRM in general tends to look a lot like that. It's very... It gives off a lot of interpretive dance vibes to me. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, so fortunately, all of these setups, as random as they might look, are really consistent. So yeah, just getting specific angles and colliding with specific walls here to get specific items. And yeah, you can get many items. One reason why this is on English, there's another reason that will come up soon, but one reason is that the item values on the Japanese version are different. On the English version, you can easily get songs. On the Japanese version, with this trick here, we cannot quite get the songs because the item values are too high to reach. And yeah, we need the Song of Soaring. So earlier, Genesis hit the Clocktown Owl. Keep that in mind, because that owl will be crucial for this run. And yeah, the Song of Soaring as well.
And that's it. I'll quickly show off what I got, since I need to equip anyway. So
Yeah, I
we
was just gonna say.
every
go ahead.
transformation mask, we got arrows and fire arrows, and we got milk. That's everything we need.
Song of Soaring? Did you get Song of Soaring?
Yeah, sure, but I didn't want to show it off. But I got it.
Okay. Just very important. So yeah, this was the first of 3 SRMs.
And yeah, my controls are inverted, which is kind of interesting.
Time stop gives you inverted controls, so for walking up you need to hold down, for example. So it's quite tricky to get used to. So yeah, the next SRM is one of the so-called light knot SRMs. And that is something that's really powerful. So in Majora's Mask, we need to do something that, for example, Ocarina of Time does not necessarily need to do. In Ocarina of Time, you can write specific file names to set up data. In this game, we don't have that option, so what we do instead is we do a very specific position setup to set up data in memory that we just need. That data is supposed to form valid pointers. So pointers, if you are not familiar with the computer science, they basically are just showing an address in memory. And yeah, the trick light knot SRM is using those pointers, and so there are 2 pointers that will be written in each other's location. So pointer A writes its value to where pointer B shows, and vice versa. So he's doing a very specific setup here to get a really precise position. This is precise for your Y and Z position. And yeah, those will then essentially form data that is valid to be interpreted at the pointers.
Dang it. Need to redo it.
Yeah. So
that's okay.
unfortunately, sometimes when you mess up, there isn't really any other backup than redoing the entire setup. So yeah, those are really precise, and it's really difficult to find those. I have spent many hours, probably over 100 hours, researching this, researching how to get specific positions here. It is quite something, I can tell you. So
Yeah, Turk has done a great job with all these position setups. It's honestly impressive. This category would not exist without Turk and Hyper.
yeah, so there's so much to how you get those set up. Like, I think I cannot really even explain how precise these setups are. They are as precise as it can be, like to the unit of how the game keeps track of your position. That's how precise it is. Like, it cannot be more precise. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's because we need to make the position data to really form exactly the pointers that we want. So the first setup we do here is Wait, we start with the Giants pointer
Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah. So the first thing we do here is we change a pointer that looks for where there's. I think I restart my explanation. This is really not easy to explain to a wide audience. So when you beat a boss, there spawns this blue warp that sends you to the Giant's Chamber. Normally it sends you to the Giant's Chamber. And then you watch a cutscene. For example, the first one is where you learn the Oath to Order. And yeah, there is... not only would that be time loss watching this long cutscene, but also the fourth cutscene is something that we will use to warp to the credits later. So we change where it sends us when we step into a blue warp. So it will no longer send us to the Giant's Chamber, but instead to somewhere else. And we will see where exactly that is later. But yeah, where the game is looking when it tries to send you somewhere is... that's unfortunate. That is something that can happen when your position setup is not...
And that's why the
what it's
estimate
supposed to
is
be.
so generous.
Yeah.
Because we need to talk to the Happy Mask Statesman again. And get
Oh, did
all
you
the
not
items
say?
again. But I could use the race file. I will use the race file.
Yeah, so this is obviously not quite legal normally, but yeah. What this is going to do is...
Would you mind if I quickly interject?
You have
Alright.
all the time you want.
Well, I actually have a lot to say then, if I have a lot of time.
Go for it.
Cool. So first off, we have 50 euros from Sam the Test Monkey saying thank you ESA with a little smiley face. We also have 10 euros and 94 cents from Recold saying hey y'all, head of production Rick here, and happy to see how Annual 2021 turned out. Shoutouts to literally everyone who at minimum looked at the event for a minute. Genesis, free your Cucos. I'd love to see this event get to 5k. And with that, I would just like to quickly like to mention that yes, we have hit 5k, and
Yay.
yes, we have met the incentive for free the Cuckoo, so the Cuckoo's gonna be
Nice.
freed.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, freeing the Cuckoo's really, really nice.
And yeah, I'm using the race file now because I don't want to talk to the Happy Mask Statesman again. And what's nice about that is I get bomb back and already have bombs, so I don't need any RNG bomb drops. But I forgot to hit the owl again, so I just quickly hit the owl.
I would have forgotten that, hey. Yeah, so many glitched categories don't actually ever hit the owl. Because also there's a trick called index warp where hitting this owl would actually ruin the entire run. Or, yeah, other categories just don't need to hit this owl. Because normally it's useless.
The good thing is, this is the last run of the marathon, and I can't delay the schedule. So, let's see if I can do it now. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I will get it, so yeah, we will first get the items back. And I need to equip some stuff.
Since we have a lot of dead time here, is it alright if I sort of explain what Light Node SRM is a little bit?
Yeah, that would be better. I think I didn't quite do the best job when I tried it.
Okay, let me give it a try. It is pretty complicated, so if some of this doesn't make sense, that's okay. But I'm gonna do my best. So there are torches in the observatory. Well, specifically, it's in the bomber's hideout section. It's on the other side, but there are quite a few torches, and torches are pretty interesting because they have a flame, and the flame is actually a dynamic lighting source. It's something that adds light to the game, but isn't always loaded. And so the way the game handles that is that it basically just keeps all those dynamically loaded lighting sources in a place in memory. And it when one of them unloads, it will just remove that torches. Let's just say torch. It can be different things besides torches, but we're only ever going to care about torches here. So when that torch unloads, it's going to remove itself from the list of all the dynamic lighting sources. And the way the list is structured is something that in computer science is known as a linked list. And basically what a linked list is it's just a collection of entries, but they can be out of order because each entry just points to the next entry in the list and to the previous entry in the list. And so when one of those entries gets removed, what ends up happening is it takes the previous entry of that one. So let's say we're starting on torch B. Okay, so torch B gets removed. And so what ends up happening is that it'll change torch A to say, hey, the next torch is actually torch C now. It's not torch it's not torch B anymore, it's torch C now. And likewise, it'll change torch C to say, hey, I know the previous entry used to be torch B, but now it's torch A. And so it essentially does two different writes into memory. And one of them is to change the previous, and one is to change the next. And it just so happens that we basically, and Turgenheimer was talking about this a little bit earlier, but we basically only have good control over one of those writes that ends up happening because our goal essentially is to write a particular value to a particular address. And if we're using one of those as a value and the other as an address, then where the second write happens is sort of just almost uncontrollable in a way. So we just have to make sure that that second write happens in a place where it's not going to cause too much harm, essentially. But yeah, so when we change when we do the SRM on the torch, what we're doing is we are just changing the torch to make it think that the list of dynamic lighting sources is somewhere different than it actually is. We're making it think that it is actually inside Link's stored position data. And so when Genesis did that position setup and then played Sauna Double Time, this is why Sauna Double Time is so important in this category, because when you play Sauna Double Time, the game remembers where you were standing and it reloads you at that exact same place. You know, it'd be pretty jarring if it didn't do that, right? Like, imagine you played Sauna Double Time and the game just teleported you somewhere completely different. That would be pretty weird as a player. And so to prevent that, it saves that data. And we are using that data, we're making the torch think that that position data is actually where the dynamic lighting source table is. So it's really like a lot of layers of complexity here, but that's sort of what's happening, and that's why it's really important that we get that perfect position, because if it's even off by a single unit, like Turkenheimer was saying, it just isn't going to work, because we're going to end up writing to a different place. And what we really need to write to is the Giants cutscene pointer. That's sort of what the goal is of that first SRM, and I'm sure we're going to get it this time.
May I be honest? I don't really expect that to have. I don't really expect many people to have understood that. That was a really technical explanation. Maybe some people understood that, but yeah, maybe we can try making it a little bit more simple. So essentially, the game gets confused.
Exactly.
No,
yeah, we're just making the game really confused.
Okay, that's the stupid explanation. No. So we get a very specific position here. Then we play the Song of Double Time, which saves our position in memory, and then we do some SRM that manipulates the torch. And the torch will look at the position data, and there's running a specific function that basically takes this data of the position and interprets it as addresses and writes those addresses to each other's location. I think that's maybe an explanation that some more people might understand. If not, I'm sorry. This is such a technical glitch. So this is
Yeah, it's super technical, and you can see why a lot of categories have banned it. But the things you can do with it are just so cool. Like, even if you don't understand what's going on, like, at all, it's still really cool. You'll love what comes next. It's gonna be really, really awesome to see.
yeah. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to understand how something works. Like I think most people who have learned this category don't really understand the technicalities behind it.
I can confirm.
But that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, here he stores his position. That's also some really cool thing where there's a difference between the American version and the Japanese version. On the Japanese version, you would actually need a date transition. On the English version, the scene also reloads with the night transition if you use Song of Double Time. On Japanese, it doesn't do that, so here we can just use a night transition. And also, we could even use, it's not used in this category, but we could also store our position on another map, like Termina Field is something that is now used in, for example, Total Dungeon Completion, a different SRM category. Yeah, where you just do a position setup in Termina Field. But yeah, in this category, we do everything here in Observatory on the stairs.
I hate ESS turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, ESS turns can be pretty difficult, especially on the Wii Virtual Console version, which is what we're playing on right now. In fact, this category only works on the Wii Virtual Console version.
Yeah.
Well, it might work on the Wii U Virtual Console version too, but we haven't really tested, and it would be a little difficult anyway, because that version's a little bit hard to play on. But yeah, there's actually some behavior happening here that is very specific to the GameCube and Wii hardware that does not work on an actual N64. And it's actually pretty interesting because up until recently, this behavior was so specific and poorly understood that it didn't even work if you were trying to do this in an emulator. But recently I had filed a bug report to get that fixed, and it took a lot of brainstorming, but they did eventually fix it. So now it is possible to do this trick. It's you just have to learn it first.
Actually, in this category, there isn't anything.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's not for this category. That's for a different category.
There's a really weird bug that was important to the any percent route that uses the trick. Ah, yeah. Yeah, better be safe than sorry here.
Yeah, usually I can't see Link's hand, but I did, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be very random what I'm doing right now. But it serves a purpose.
About those position setups, it really... you might think, how in the world do you figure out position setups that are so precise by just doing seemingly random things? So the way I figured this out is I used a practice tool that is called KZ, and you can see the position data in memory as hex values. And very often, when you, for example, have a straight angle, when you target a straight wall, and then do something very simple like slashing your sword or targeting and slashing your sword, then the amount by what your position is adjusting it's very consistent. So you can, if you just look very closely at how those numbers behave, you can see patterns, and yeah, eventually come up with these stupid setups.
I almost played the wrong song.
Oh no. Close call.
So yeah, we should maybe talk about what he is even manipulating. So if you still have not quite understood what Light SRM does, that's okay. The only thing you need to know is we manipulate some stuff in memory that will result in wrong warps. So the first thing is, the first setup he did is we change to where the blue warps take us when we step into them after we beat a boss. And the second one is the setup that he's doing right now. That is something that manipulated, or that will manipulate the South Clocktown Owl. So that's the reason why we needed to hit that owl. When we soar to that owl later, it will not take us to South Clocktown, but instead it will look at somewhere in Link's actor. It will look at a copy of his Z position. And yeah, based on what exactly Link's Z position is, we can almost soar anywhere. So it's a little bit stupid that we have to use something like Z position of Link. There would be more convenient things like his angle, but yeah, there are technical reasons why that's not so easily possible.
Rehydrating with some milk. Stay hydrated.
And yeah, so since he needs to get a very specific Z position here, he is again doing some setup.
Let's see if it worked.
Yeah, so the game didn't crash, so most likely it did work.
Yeah.
But you never know. So now he's soaring to the South Clocktown Owl.
I hope. Oh no.
And there we go, yay.
This is not South Clocktown.
Oh yeah, right. That's totally not what we wanted. No, of course that's what we wanted, yeah. So we are just going to warp to all the bosses with this trick.
Yay, boss rush time. I can talk again.
Oh right, boss now. Oh my god, it's just so exciting. Then it gets really fun. I know that all those position setups might have been a little dry, but now's the real cool part.
Dang it, didn't get the quick kill.
But 3 hits, that's not too bad.
That's really good. Fighting this boss as Fierce Deity, like, if you're really good, it can be super fast, but it's also pretty difficult in my opinion. Like, I think this is one of the harder ways to fight this boss well.
Well, I mean...
It's easy to beat it somehow,
is...
but not fast.
Yeah.
Fast is
exactly.
hard.
So the alternative is to use the bow, or fire arrows, or light and ice arrows are an option. That's also not easy. So learning it as Fierce Duty is sometimes easier, or it's easier to do this if you don't really have any experience with this fight at all. But yeah, there's also a way to make this actually the fastest way to kill Twin Mold. But it's not only a little bit RNG dependent, but also really difficult.
Yeah, spawn right there, stupid worm.
Oh no.
I hate that fight. And I will hate it even more since I'm learning all dungeons restricted at the moment. And yeah, you have to, use arrows for that fight. And my EU aim is not exactly the best.
Yeah. So yeah, also one thing noting, optimally you run on Nintendo Wii, the Wii VC version, and the mapping is actually changed, which makes it a lot harder. For this category it's actually essential that the mapping is changed, because on N64 you cannot really go in a straight line, which is essential to the position setups. But yeah, now let's see where this blue orb takes us. Hopefully not to a crash. Alright, this is Southern Swamp. Purified, and you might be wondering why are we warping here? So the way how we did it is we manipulated the Giant's Chamber pointer to point somewhere on the actor heap. So the actor heap is again the same thing that We also manipulated earlier for the SRM, so to load the actors and all that stuff around you, the interactable things around you in a specific spot in memory. And yeah, we now make the game look at also this part of memory. And the reason why we did this is we can still manipulate it. If we later, we will actually do this after this fight, if we load some stuff in just the right way, then we can still write data to the actor heap, and thereby manipulating where the blue warps will take us. Well, the boring part about it is the first 3 blue warps will always just take us to Purified Swamp. Purified Swamp is
I'm too slow.
scene 0, and it is just by far the easiest thing to make sure that there's zeros in memory. This is really easy. So the first 2 blue warps, we actually don't do anything. There are already zeros loaded in memory, and then for the 3rd and 4th one we do something. So now, yeah, we have the first 2 bosses down, and now there's going to be a mini heap setup in Road to Southern Swamp. But that is just a convenient map where we can set up some memory.
Would you guys mind if I read out some donations?
Yeah, for a moment we still have some time, yeah.
Okay. So we have 10 euros from Morschuhmeister saying masks, cuckoos, time? You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. We also have 103 euros from the ever-generous Tiny Tim, saying, hey y'all, well what an event! As always, it's been an honor to be part of BSG and to help raise money for an amazing cause. Here's hoping to see everyone in person at BSG Annual 2022. Cheers! And we also have 5 euros from Jack of Hearts, saying, had to donate during one of my favorite games of all time. I believe in sustainability and only buy free-range Cuco eggs. Let's see that bonus run. Thanks to everyone at BSG for having me as a runner twice and as a host in such a fun event. Here's to 5k. Let's keep going.
I heard some familiar names donating. That's nice. Thank you guys. And yeah, I hope that we will see each other at on-site marathons soon. Okay, mini heap is done.
Yeah. So yeah, what he did there is he just dropped some bombs and there loaded some smoke, and then he did this quick spin. The quick spin was the important part. Or it wasn't a quick spin, it was a charged spin. That was the important part, because that charged spin loaded exactly at the important part in memory.
Yeah, if I did something wrong, the game crashes after stepping into the blue warp.
Yeah. So
Stupid fish.
for this blue warp, there are yet again zeros in memory. So again, we will be sent to Purified Swamp. But for the last blue warp, there are actually now the right values for Lost Woods. So don't be confused. Lost Woods in this game is the first area when you start a new game. That is Lost Woods, where Link is riding through that forest. So in Ocarina of Time, Lost Woods is that place where you go through a lot of rooms, and if you take the wrong path, you get sent out again. In this game, that is Woods of Mystery. But yeah, this entrance, or the intro map, that is Lost Woods. So that is really important. Keep that in mind.
And yeah, tech, get ready on time. As soon as we beat Odolva, which is the hardest boss ever, we will step into the blue warp. And yeah, then that's it, basically. Last setup here. Okay, apart from the crash, not too bad. So, nothing can go wrong, except for VC crash. Please don't, please don't.
Oh no. It's alright if I explain the incoming credits work a little bit?
Yeah,
Sure.
explain that.
Awesome. So, this game has sort of this concept that's known as an alternate setup. And essentially, an alternate setup is just a different variation on a scene. And so, even though there's 4 Giants cutscenes, there's actually only one Giants cutscene map, and it just has 4 alternate versions of itself. And the 4th Giant cutscene is the 4th alternate version. That's sort of makes sense. But other scenes in this game also have alternate versions, and in particular, Lost Woods
Okay, get ready in
has
time.
an alternate version, which is used during the credits when Link is riding Epona away from
Time.
Termina.
Oh, yeah.
And that is exactly what we just warped into.
Yeah, we
Make
skipped.
this a little bit more simple. So this is the 4th cutscene of Lost Woods. And this is playing instead of the 4th cutscene of the Giant's Chamber. So that is the explanation in short, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And yeah, we have skipped a lot of the credits, actually. We are at the end. We have no sound at all. And yeah, we will reach the end screen in just a bit. And that is, or was, All Dungeons, SRM, with a crash in between. But we did it. So, what was the final time? I'm curious.
Your final time is 58 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Sub 1 hour is okay with
That's
the crash. So
That's good for a crash. Yeah, that's awesome. Good job, Genesis.
thank you, thank you. And yeah, learning that was quite the journey. And watching all those position setups Turk made throughout the weeks. And oh no, I find something new. You have to learn something new now. Yeah, thank you, Turk.
Yeah, this is SRM in a nutshell. There's just always new stuff found, and then the old stuff is instantly outdated. And that's why many people don't really want to learn this anymore. Yeah, so if you want to learn this game, you might be interested in categories that don't use SRM. And yeah, if you want to run something that uses SRM, just keep that in mind. What you run might be outdated any day. So yeah.
Yeah. And for those interested in All Dungeons but not SRM, there is a tournament going on for All Dungeons Restricted currently, and I believe there are 2 matches today on one of the Zelda Speedruns channels. So that might be interesting for you then. Okay, we did meet the incentive for the bonus run. So let's free a chicken, or Kako rather, I'd say. Shall we?
Let's do it.
So, do we have a new timer for that tag, or do we just continue without a timer? Since this is an official category extension category
Yeah.
with 1 entry by me.
Yeah, I still forgot to run this category. I did one offline,
Well,
but I guess that doesn't count. I should upload that, but I don't have the recording anymore. Whatever.
yeah, just run it. So, Zelda, do we get a timer or don't we get a timer?
I don't know. I'm not one of the tech people. I'm kind of looking at recalls per chance.
Maybe we can do it
Maybe
without,
you
I
can tell me
guess.
something.
Reek, we need your advice.
Just kind of waiting on a response from tech, but I'm not getting anything, so I'm also just kind of like, I
Ah,
don't know.
Let's just do it without. Fine.
Yeah. So let's go. So this is again the race file, and since we didn't save any of our progress, we don't have anything. So we have Deku Mask and Ocarina, and both songs we have, and a heart piece, which is this one, which is on the top of the tower here. And yeah,
We have a timer.
we have a timer. Okay, is it
We have
running
a timer.
already?
It's running already.
Okay, nice.
Sleeper
So
time.
I won't beat my PB that way, but that's fine.
That's fine.
And
Wait,
yeah,
we don't need this owl, do we?
no,
I'm
but
confused.
it's muscle memory right now, so
Yeah.
I hit it
Alright.
either way.
So
We
yeah.
get some money because we need bombs again.
One thing you'll quickly learn if you do decide to run this game or are interested in watching more speedruns of this game is that it pretty much doesn't matter what category it is, whether it allows or bans SRM. Bombs are just basically the best item ever in this game, and honestly, that's true for most Zelda games, I would say. Like, bombs are just really good in like every Zelda game, and you just always want to have bombs.
Oh yeah. I want to note one interesting thing. Normally, when you enter the credits, the game actually autosaves. However, it autosaves quite at the beginning of the credits. So normally it starts with a cutscene and terminal field, and there is a screen that says "Dawn of a New Day." And yeah, on this in this run, that did not happen because we wrong warp directly to the end of the credits. So yeah, since he played this on the race file earlier, if it would have saved, that would have been a little bit inconvenient. But it's all right like this.
I'm heading to observatory right now. There's a Deku flower right here somewhere. And I can use that to fly over the fence and get into observatory early.
This is the intended way, by the way. That is not very often used, but yeah.
It's fun, and we will have a look at the Kako, which is trapped in the cage, because why not? We want to see what we are dealing with. So, there's a Kako in a cage, in a small cage, and it doesn't have food. It's about to die eventually, but we don't want it to die, so we save it. I need to get that rupee. I drop 2 bombs, get into hideout, get back into observatory, destroy the pot again, go back. I'm dropping a bomb, getting inverted cam, which is interesting sometimes. That should work. Super slide off the pot. And I'm holding nothing. That's not a Kako, right? But what's that? A Kako! Okay, we have
That's
a Kako
time.
now. Yeah, that's time. We have a Kako. And it's not in the cage anymore, so we are sure that this is the Kako which was trapped earlier. And yeah, I can now throw it around and it curves and I can hit it, but I won't because Peter might not like that. And yeah, so that's release Kako, and yeah, that's a stupid little thing you can do with SRM. You can load any actor you can see here, like the clock or the chicken, into Link's hands. And what I'm going to do now is I'm clipping out of bounds. I could just leave, but clipping is way more fun. And I clipped into the pot, nice. That's interesting too, because now I can do this. Yeah, let me slowly, before we wrap up the bonus run, I want to show off one little cosplay for Link. Link likes to cosplay somehow. I don't know what brought that up, but yeah, Link is a cosplayer now. And therefore we can just drop a bomb, come back, get inverted cam. I don't trust that. And yeah, what is going to happen? We are a clock now. So yeah, the clock which was hanging on the wall right somewhere around there is now in our hands, and yeah, Link looks like wearing a clock now, and that is very interesting.
What a great place to end it.
Yeah. So, this is the screen you will see at the very end of BSG. Link wearing a clock cosplay. And that is all from me, I guess. I will thank BSG for having me once again. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you on site for BSG Annual 2022. And yeah, I had 3 runs this week. One of them didn't finish, one of them was a race I won, and then this, which crashed and somehow still got underestimated. So I'm fine with my performance. And yeah, thank you, Riley. Thank you, Turk, for your commentary, which was on point. A little too technical sometimes, but...
Yeah, it's so difficult to
It
explain
is.
that.
It's hard to explain.
It is, but nonetheless, you did a fantastic job, both of you.
Thank you.
And yeah, if you both have anything to add...
Sure. I guess we do shoutouts. I don't really play this game much anymore. I'm way too interested in understanding how it works and breaking it, so I usually stream stuff to that end on my Twitch. I have the same name as I do here, and YouTube channel, same thing. I just sort of upload glitch-related stuff. So if you're interested in the technical explanations and stuff, that's sort of what I do. If that was over your head, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I do a little bit of both, running and some glitch research. But yeah.
Okay, I think we're done now. Get us off stage.
Thank you very much, and also thank you very much for practically showcasing such an interesting technical run. Okay, chap. That was the very last run of BSG Annual 2021. So sad. But don't go anywhere, because we're not quite done yet. We're gonna go to a quick intermission, and then we'll be back with some afterthoughts from the staff. So, see you in a bit.